Went through thousands and thousands of prospects, number of means, assess just a huge amount of people. Then, Leanne pulled up this video of this guy with an oyster farm.
My name is Platner.
What kills me about all this is that, like, you built this whole thing to be against coastal elites, the elites, the elites. You guys are all sheltered kids, so young in the grand scheme of life and so isolated. And like, you went to these Ivy League schools and your parents have money.
I mean, also, this is the APAC of it all. Being able to be so against APAC is a privilege, because that means that you looked at the state of Maine and said, you know what the biggest problem is with Bangor, Maine? Gaza.
Israel.
Yeah, exactly. So he also is running his entire campaign with APAC first, genocide, which is like, fine. I don't have an issue being against APAC. I don't have an issue with like being against what's happening in Israel. You have every right to be. But if your entire political branding is just about that, which I'm sorry, it was about Israel Epstein class. It was Jew. It was every time he spoke, it was him not saying the word Jew while saying every other word attached to Jew. And Morris Katz is the person that has kind of orchestrated this strategy of getting white college-educated voters to get really excited about one issue, Israel, and then finding ways in the primaries to knock out incumbents by making Israel the entire thing, because he knows that the only way that he's going to get white college-age voters to the voting booth is to just Israel, 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 Israel. What was so crazy about the tattoo thing is that you have the Jews saying it's a problem he's got a Nazi tattoo, and the answer back being said, yeah, but he's against APAC. The oyster farmer part of it, he's got one client, and it's his mom. Yeah. He was given an oyster farm, and at the end of the day, he was even cosplaying a lot. You had Morris Katz cosplaying. Then you have Platner, who was handed this oyster farm with his mom's fancy oyster restaurant, pretending to be a salt of the earth, a briny salt of the earth everyman who made it on his own. And at the end of the day, even he was a sham person.
After the tattoo came out, I was like, I'm done. And I took so much shit for that. And like, I was just like, I'm waiting. I know this. I see this man. I see who he is. And like, you're kidding yourself if you think that he doesn't have like a string of things. He is like the biggest coastal elite fail son. He's just downwardly mobile. He's not actually working class. That's the difference. It's like, of course, these rich kids saw a downwardly mobile, charismatic, deep voice guy and were like, that's working class, because they could relate to him, because he isn't really working class, because he went to fucking Hotchkiss. And then he's like, I've never been around money or power. It's like, you went to private school.